Standard 5 is about learner engagement, and in particular about choosing a range of learning activities that will cause your student to be engaged. When we have the online session, you'll hear from some experienced online instructors about some of the tools and techniques that they use to encourage student engagement. One of the keys to learner engagement is to have the student understand that there's somebody behind the course shell, you, who cares whether they're going to succeed or not. So learner engagement starts with teacher to student interaction, and there are a variety of things that you can do to foster this interaction. One thing you can do is to portray yourself as somebody who's accessible to the student. And so we've looked at this before, but let's take a look again at my instructor introduction for CIS 122. And I've tried to portray myself as somebody who actually cares about whether the student succeeds or not. Building on that, the instructor should always state their plan for responding to student assignments. Nothing kills engagement more than when a student submits an assignment and doesn't hear back from the instructor for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. The student is left in limbo and has no idea what's going on, and that makes them disengage from the course. A positive thing you can do, however, is to provide multiple opportunities for the student to interact with the instructor and with other students. So, for example, I make heavy use of discussion boards to do that in my course, and I try to pick topics that the students will be interested in and that will care about. And I also pick topics that I'm interested in talking about as well, because if I'm interested in participating in the discussion, the students will notice that I'm engaged in the course and I care about the material, and that models the correct behavior for them. You should also be careful to choose learning activities that align with your learning outcomes. Once again, this is one of the key principles of quality matters, that your learning materials, your assessments, and your learning activities should all support student mastery of the learning outcomes. And finally, you should always be clear about what your expectations are as far as student interaction. If you seem like you don't care whether the student participates or not, the student likely won't participate. Personally, I always tie my discussions to a nominal number of points because I find that some students, particularly when they get loaded, are likely to not do any kind of assignment or activity unless it actually has a grade associated with it. It's unfortunate but true. And so I always make sure that there are some points tied to the discussion groups because I personally think they're important for fostering student engagement. And I show that by attaching points to them.